The tale of Ostan, the Africa Blue Symbiote, and new villain, the Shadow Wraith, the battle of light and shadow. Please support this channel by clicking the subscriber button, liking this video now and dropping a comment. As we start this new adventure of the Africa Blue Symbiote, the Blue Guardian. The story of Ostan, the Africa Blue Symbiote. In the vibrant city of Benin, where the river flows gently and the sun bathes everything in golden light, lived a young man named Ostan. He was an ordinary guy with dreams that surpassed the horizon. But Ostan was not just any young man, he was chosen by a powerful entity known as the Africa Blue Symbiote, which bestowed upon him extraordinary abilities. This entity was a living being made of a blue substance that shimmered like the night sky filled with stars. It gave Ostan strength, agility, and an unyielding spirit, turning him into the Blue Guardian of the city. Ostan was deeply in tune with his surroundings. He loved to explore the rich history and culture of Benin. He often roamed the ancient streets, visited local markets, and talked to elders who shared stories of the past. One day, while sitting under a large baobab tree, he heard whispers of a powerful new villain in the city called Shadow Wraith. People described him as a dark figure, capable of manipulating shadows and instilling fear in the hearts of many. Shadow Wraith had been causing chaos, stealing from the rich, terrorizing the poor, and spreading darkness across Benin. Determined to protect his city, Ostan decided to study this new threat. He spent days observing the shadows, trying to understand how Shadow Wraith operated. The symbiote supported him, providing insights and visions of what lurked in the darkness. Ostan learned that Shadow Wraith thrived on fear. The more frightened the people were, the stronger he became. Ostan knew he had to devise a plan. His first step was to gather intelligence. He sought out the local heroes and community leaders, having deep conversations about the menacing figure. He learned that Shadow Wraith was once a brilliant scientist named Kabir, who had been obsessed with harnessing the energy of darkness. His experiments went wrong, transforming him into the villain he had become. This knowledge gave Ostan a small window of hope. If he could reach the man Kabir once was, he might find a way to stop Shadow Wraith. With this in mind, Ostan began training under the guidance of the Blue Symbiote. He practiced his combat skills, learned how to manipulate his powers, and trained his mind to keep calm in the face of fear. The Blue Guardian could create energy shields, emit bright flashes of light, and even glide through the air. These were essential abilities, especially when facing an enemy that thrived on shadow and fear. After weeks of preparation, Ostan felt ready. He set out one evening, knowing that Shadow Wraith was most powerful at night. The streets were silent, shrouded in darkness, as he approached the heart of the city. There, he saw Shadow Wraith weaving through the alleyways, cloaked in shadows as he stole from the frightened citizens. It was time to confront him. Ostan gathered his courage and shouted, "Shadow Wraith! Your reign of terror ends tonight." Out of the shadows came a chilling laugh. "Oh, the Blue Guardian. So brave, yet so foolish. You think you can stop me?" Shadow Wraith replied, his voice echoing through the darkness. Ostan felt a tremor of doubt but quickly reminded himself of his training. He summoned the power of the Blue Symbiote and created a barrier of brilliant light around him. The light pushed back against the encroaching darkness, illuminating the alley. Shadow Wraith hissed, trying to retreat into the shadows. "I know who you are, Kabir," Ostan called out. "You were once a protector of knowledge. You don't have to do this." For a moment, Shadow Wraith paused. He seemed to waver, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. But then the darkness reasserted itself. "The darkness is my only ally now. You cannot save me." He lunged forward, launching tendrils of shadow at Ostan. Ostan dodged and countered with a burst of energy, striking the shadows with light. The clash sent shockwaves through the alley, lighting up the night sky. He pressed forward, using his agility and stamina to evade Shadow Wraith's attacks. As they fought, Austin noticed one thing: the shadows were strongest when Kabir was consumed by anger and fear. Every time Austin's light struck through, there was a moment where the darkness lifted slightly, revealing the man beneath. Emphasizing this strategy, Austin shouted, "Kabir, you're fighting the darkness within you. Remember who you were." With each strike of light, he shared stories of Kabir's past, of his brilliance and the good he once believed in. The shadows wailed as if in agony, struggling against the light that Austin wielded. Slowly but surely, Kabir began to falter. "Stop!" he cried, his voice filled with desperation. "You don't understand." Austin saw his chance. "I do understand. I know you once wanted to help people. Turn away from the shadow. Join me, and we can fight this together." The shadows surrounding Wraith fled, and in a moment of clarity, Kabir hesitated. Austin took a step forward, lighting up the alley with brighter energies, casting away the darkness. In that moment, Kabir's face emerged from the shadow, revealing a man torn between his past and present. "No. I will not lose to pity," he roared, gathering his shadows for one last assault. But Austin stood firm, heart echoing with determination. "You don't have to do this. It's not too late." In a final clash of light and dark, the forces collided, creating a brilliant explosion that shook the ground. But the light prevailed. In that moment of brilliance, Kabir's shadows shattered, and he was enveloped in light. The darkness dissipated, and there stood Kabir, battered but free from the shadow's grip. Breathing heavily, he looked into Austin's eyes, and for the first time, there was a glimpse of the scientist he once was. "What have I done?" he whispered. "You were lost, but now you can find your way back," Austin replied, extending his hand. "Let's rebuild together." The people of Benin emerged from their hiding places, witnessing the transformation. The shadows that once terrified them melted away, and the light of hope began to shine again. Kabir accepted Austin's hand, and as he did, the symbiote released a radiant glow, marking the end of the menacing shadow wraith. From that day on, Kabir became an ally to Austin, using his knowledge to help the community flourish. Together, they started educating the people about the balance of light and shadow, teaching them that even in the darkest times, there is always a path to redemption. Austin had not only saved his city but had also found a new purpose as the Blue Guardian. With Kabir by his side, he knew they could protect Benin from any darkness that threatened to rise, for they had learned that the true strength lay in understanding, and that even the darkest past can lead to a brighter future. Thanks for watching our African superhero story. Please subscribe, like, comment and share for more interesting Africa hero story.